there was a moment where they had to lay down like multiple bags of ice on the ground on the concrete because the concrete was so hot that they couldn't ask us to lay down on it until they cooled it down. Like it was hot, girl. It was hot. It was hot. I'm not exaggerating when I say that.
All right, Evelyn, let's deliver this package. It's rude not to introduce yourself before pulling a gun on someone. Oh, this is rude.
What was it that drew you to it?
Well, wasn't it? I mean, it was all the things that I wanted to do. I mean, first of all, executive produced by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, who created the classics now of Deadpool and Zombieland and that sort of gallows humor. And then to have the world written and fleshed out by Michael Jonathan Smith, who's our showrunner, was like so exciting for me to read through all of those scripts because I just didn't know what to expect. But then as soon as I started reading, I couldn't stop turning the pages and I just wanted to be a part of it. And I knew who the character was. I felt like I had a really strong take on who she was and how she functioned in the world. And I'm just really, really so grateful that I got to be a part of it.
Had you played the game before?
I never had. Yeah, no. I have friends who are obsessed with it though. Multiple friends who cannot wait for the series to come out, like who've been bothering me for behind the scenes photos. And I'm like, I signed an NDA. I can't. I'll get fired.
Do you think it stays quite true to the game? I've never played it either. So
I think there's big elements of it that stay very true. Like the gallows humor that I was talking about, that's a big element in the actual games. This is like very dark, weird humor that like we bring to the series. There's also characters from the games that are sort of teased at or dropped in. One of the big ones obviously is Sweet Tooth, but there's others too that I think audiences that love the game will be really excited to see on the series. But the series is also its own thing. It fleshes out the world in a really different way, in a very cool way. And I think one of the reasons for me that it works as someone who didn't play the games is because MJ, our showrunner and writer, he knew those games inside and out and he loved them. And so did much of our writing staff. And so they brought that like passion to the project.
was it hard for those first like 1.5 episodes where you weren't speaking? Like you were almost like acting with your eyes? Was that harder or
No,
easier?
girl, it was fun. No, it was fun. I don't know that it was easy, but it was challenging in a totally different way. But also like I didn't have any lines, so I didn't have to worry about like I've said it wrong or I'm like not memorizing lines for, a couple hours before bed. That part was fun. But I love all sorts of storytelling. I love all forms of storytelling. I've in my career I've been lucky enough to do multiple kinds of things. I've sung, I've done voiceover acting, I've had the opportunity to do musical theater and dance and like, and now to do this, it has like so many different kinds of physical elements as well as the comedy as well as the drama. It's like it's a really big like gift to an actor to be able to do all of these things in one lifetime. I just found it to be really, really fun. And I kept making this
Absolutely.
joke. I was like, just talk to me like off camera, like what I need to be doing, like they used to do in the silent film days. And we did quite a bit of that actually. I will say comedy is so joyful to do. It's so fun to, try to figure out the problem of how do we make someone laugh and forget your troubles. Come on, get happy just for a little bit. That's a really fun thing to be able to do and to make people laugh that you work with, whose sensibility is similar to yours, to make someone burst into laughter because of something that you said or did. It's like that is really fun.
What's something from behind the scenes that fans, when they're watching, might not expect when they are watching it when it comes out?
I will say, like, it was hot. I think you can kind of tell that it's hot, but I don't know if you could ever really grasp how hot it really was. It was like New Orleans in the middle of summer. We're in a car with no AC. We can't run the AC because if we run the AC, the microphones won't pick us up. So we're driving around for, doing these scenes for hours, just sweating our brains out. Um, yeah, Anthony's a real sweater. That's mostly his real sweat that you're gonna see in the series. They didn't need to spray him down with anything. Meanwhile, I don't really like sweat like that. Like I just don't. I don't know if it's because I grew up in Texas, although Anthony grew up in New Orleans, so I don't think that's it. I just don't sweat like that. But it was hot. It was really hot.
I can imagine that would have made stunt work quite difficult when everyone's hot and sweaty.
Challenging. There was a moment where they had to lay down like multiple bags of ice on the ground on the concrete because the concrete was so hot that they couldn't ask us to lay down on it until they cooled it down. Like it was hot, girl. It was hot. It was hot. I'm not exaggerating when I say that. I think one day it was like 104 and we were like driving around on a giant paved lot. I was like, whoa, glamour, glitz, Hollywood.